just in time. Greetings, everyone. I'm Luke Bryant Smith, and welcome to Enlightened, Empowered, Evolved, where we educate, motivate, and liberate you through enlightening dialogues, empowering music, and evolving content. I'm excited yet again because my next extraordinary guest is the creator of Life's Checkmark podcast, where he offers comfort, understanding, and hope to those who may feel alone in their struggles. And there's a whole lot more. But without further ado, allow me to introduce to you Jon Emery. How are you doing today,
Hey,
Jon?
great, great. I'm
Yes,
excited to be here, Brian.
yes, Jon. I just want to say this first before I get started that I believe that time is one of our most precious assets. And for you to decide to choose to be here at this present moment on Enlightened, Empowered, Evolved, I just want to extend my sincerest gratitude. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes. So let's just get right into it, Jon. Can you give us a bit of a backstory of what led you to not only creating this, what I'm sure is an amazing podcast, but led to your transformation? Now, I saw some of the write up that you've sent to me, but I want to hear it from you.
Yeah, sure, of course. So about 5 years ago, I lost my job, which would have been a 20-year career.
Right.
They were closing around the COVID time, but it wasn't just due to COVID. So I got to see, it was a manufacturing company. I got to see like 60 people walk out the door in one day when they stopped production.
Wow.
And I wound up staying there for another 8 months, making sure the whole place was cleaned out. It was stripped. All the equipment was gone, everything, right down to sweeping the floors. So I was like one of the last three people to walk out the door, um, which would have been May of the following year. So I think it was 2021
Mm,
or 2020. Yeah.
okay.
So regardless of the year, it doesn't matter. But so I stayed there for 8 months. Um, I was like, okay, well, I don't know what I'm going to do, right? And so I wound up trying whole life insurance because I knew somebody, they were looking for somebody to work with, and I dove into that. So 9 to 5 job to commission based, totally different. But I loved learning what I had to offer. I played around with YouTube for a little bit, made some videos, etc. And then within the same year, I was mentioned the word divorce.
Mm, okay.
Something I didn't see coming for a little, for several months. So there was things going on at the house. Behaviors were changing. Didn't know what to do. I wound up listening to a podcast. So the word divorce came to me May, and then the podcast I listened to was January of that same year. So I don't know what the episode was about, but the podcast was for men. I listened to it previous years just to be a better father, just to show up better for
Right.
my kids. And for whatever reason, I was led to listen to that episode. They said, "Hey, we have a community of men. We talk about everything all of under the sun." So I joined. There's a fee to it, and I was able to open up to like 4 or 5 men that I found that was kind of a safe zone for me. Um, I didn't have that. I didn't have those friends or anybody around me that I could kind of lean on. There was like one or two of them I spoken to, but how far do I share my relationship with somebody else that's not
Right.
part of the relationship? I never did
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I
So,
understand.
yeah, right. I mean, like, so to be part of this was different too, because I had to get stuff out of my head. I'm looking at every little thing and fine details, and I'm saying it's this when it really wasn't that. You know what I mean? Like I'm just playing with my head. So these men allowed me to get to a safe space, especially one I consider a coach because he led me through a class. And when she mentioned the word divorce, I was okay with it. Not that I really wanted it prior to that, but things led up to where I was willing to accept it, right? Because it was just too much. I couldn't take it anymore, right? Dude, if you want to diet and lose weight, I mean, it's right there. Just go through a divorce, right? I lost
Right.
20 pounds. Um, I couldn't stay up sometimes because somebody wasn't home and, taking care of two kids. So it would have been a 15-year marriage with two kids.
Mm,
And so that was done come that May. We decided to go our own separate ways. And then I had to go on a journey of where do I go from here, right? Because I basically was with her since, my teens. Um, and I had to navigate through how am I going to keep the house? How am I going to, find a job or whatever that was. I basically worked on my five areas, I call them. So I worked on myself emotionally, mentally, right? Physically, spiritually, relationship wise, and then business and finance. Um, and in that order was for me. So anybody can do whatever they want, but that's what worked for me. So I started meditating, have a morning routine, kind of got me going. Then I hired a fitness trainer for my physical, area I wanted to work on. The relationships came with the podcast, right? I got to connect with people, listen, speak back to them. And, with the spiritual side, about 3 years now, I've been going to church, found God, and, learning everything about I can with the Bible. And then the business finances where, I created the podcast and, Podcasters Hub and all that other stuff to help support others. And, the podcast started about a year and a half after the word divorce was mentioned to me. And I was just like, I liked the one guy that I knew that had one. And I just said, hey, how is other people, how are other people going through things in their life and getting by, right? And so I was just curious what they went through. Everything that a lot of people come on, I'm like, I don't know how they got through what they went through. I'm like thinking mine was the worst situation, but it was a worse situation for me, right, at the time.
Right, right.
And so, listening to what they went through and how they got through it, it's just been amazing. And the idea is just to hope that one person listens to it and knows that they're not alone. They can reach out to me, reach out to the guests, etc. But that's kind of a quick story there of how I got started with the podcast, and now I'm 3 years and a couple of months in, and around episode 200.
Wow, wow. Yeah, I would like to hear more, but let me say these few things first. Wow, let me think about this. And I know what I want to say, but it's just amazing. And you'll see where I'm going with this. I believe in serendipity, okay? So everything unfolds and happens for a reason. Now I'm connected with you and we spoke last week, but we didn't really get into what you just explained or what you just articulated to us right now. But the same thing with me that led me to this podcast, that led me to looking within and to seeking, my connection with God and everything was through a terrible divorce. And I can also confirm that that is a way to lose weight because I was skinny and frail. I got to the point where I had to drink weight gain shakes every day because I couldn't eat. So I understand totally what you mean, especially when there's children involved as well. But it was very stressful. Fast forward to and this didn't happen at the same time, but fast forward to last year. I worked for Anheuser-Busch for 31 years and they started to wind down. Long story short, they shut down the plant that I worked for. Budweiser still exists, but the plant that I worked for in Fairfield, California, shut down along with two other plants. So I pretty much watched that, you know, 30 years of employment and memories and everything just and watching the place turning to a shell of itself. Man, that affects you. It really does. Whether
Mhm.
you try to not let it affect you or not, it does. Because I poured out a lot of my life in that. So it's just amazing to hear you say that and to see similarities that I went through. And wow, man, that's just wow. So your podcast, its main focus is on encouraging men that have went through similar situations.
Its focuses on anybody,
Oh,
any
okay.
any journey that where I find a guest that's willing to be open, honest, authentic, and vulnerable, and share whatever conversation we can have about their journey. That's who I'm looking for.
Right.
So, I mean, I've had people all across the board talking about entrepreneurship, addictions, bankruptcy,
Okay.
traveling, moving to different places they never been to, a whole bunch of stories. I can't remember all of them.
Okay. And where can we find this podcast?
Yeah,
And the
so
name
it's
again? The name again?
Yeah, life's check mark. So it's got a
Life's
big
Checkmark.
orange. Yeah, it's got a big orange check mark, just
Okay.
same color as the wall back here.
Okay.
And then a guy climbing up it with the life's check mark underneath of it in text. But yeah, Apple, you can go Spotify, iHeartRadio. It's all of them. And then
Life's
it's on
Checkmark.
YouTube as well.
All right, everyone, be sure to check that out. And I just want to ask you, I am not trying to put you on the spot like as if you're a doctor or anything like that, but from your experiences, your perspectives, your journey, what advice or suggestions would you give? And I know you said your podcast is about a number of things, but this particular subject, would you give to people, to other men that have been through, that are going through, or about to go through what you've been through? What would you say to help get them through?
Yeah, I would say seek help. All right,
Okay.
find somebody to talk to, because that's the problem. We do get stuck in our heads, right? And we
Right.
think we can handle it ourselves when that's not the case.
Right.
We're supposed to be in a tribe. We're supposed to be gathering on the fire and all that kind of stuff. It's just like society is telling us not to. So we're separating ourselves from just not just our men, but even from women, right? We're
Right.
becoming just males,
Right.
dudes or whatever I've heard before too. And that would be number one. So, I mean, like, there's plenty of groups out there, and you might not think there are, but there are plenty. And so, like, maybe whoever's listening or watching this can reach out to you or me, right? And they go, okay, you've been down the same path. Can you assist me? And even though we have no degree or anything like that, right? Just to listen and just say, hey, I'm here for you if you ever need to talk. People need that guiding, that beacon of light, just to keep moving forward. It's not to say that it's going to help the situation, right? And help you from not getting a divorce. Um,
Right.
but what it could do is I could definitely give them some people, some coaches I know that deal with relationships,
Right.
with couples and stuff. But Brian, I'll be honest with you, it's going to come down to the couple themselves. If
Mm.
both parties aren't willing to work together, then it's not going to work. And then if you were to ask me, what would it take to work on that relationship or even a new relationship? I think it comes down to communication.
Right.
How does a male and a female communicate with each other? And I think that's a whole process everybody should learn. Unfortunately, I don't think half of us even learn how to communicate with one another. We just
I
accept the
agree.
fact for what it is.
I agree. Wow. And I can also say this, and this is not to discourage anyone, but I'm just using this for, context is sometimes you get to a point in any relationship where there's so much damage, you may not ever climb out of that anymore. So you might have to move on.
Mm.
I'm just saying. And there's also a lot of damage that can be done and you can climb out of it. It, like you said, it depends on if both of you are willing to work on that. And, you know, it's not a one size fits all. It's just a lot of things out there, a lot of different variables, depending on what's happened and what continues to happen, what was done, what is said, what is and how it's going, whatever, and just the desire to even work it out, to even stay with this person. But I also want to say this, and I don't want to turn this into just a relationship advice segment because that's not what it is. But oftentimes people think that the answer to my happiness is, oh, let me find someone else, or let me. No, you're gonna go through things with them too, and you just are, because everybody has their own way of thinking, their own, yeah. So yeah, this perfect. I always tell people, hey, if you find that perfect person that does everything you want, hey, ask do they have a spare room at their house so I can go there too.
There you go.
Because I don't see it happening.
Right.
But yeah,
Makes
there are,
sense.
yeah, yes. So I'm curious about that book behind you with your name on it. Can you tell us something about that?
Sure, absolutely. So it's an anthology, and I have 20 guests that have been on the podcast coming into the book.
Okay.
So they are writing something totally different in their chapter about their journey than what they have mentioned on the podcast.
Okay.
So now it's something that's tangible. People can hold it, they can read it. They might not pick up a podcast, they might not listen to a podcast. They might not find the podcast. They might not find their episode. But now here's an opportunity that they can read about them. They can go ahead and check out their website. They can go back and there'll be a link to go back to the podcast. They can watch and listen to it and learn more about that person, or connect with them, if they need them for their services, if they have a business or whatnot. So it's a way I was able to find uh, yeah, I'm looking for that one word.
Yeah, the collaboration.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Something.
yeah. It's got to be the a way that everybody can come together. That's always
Oh, okay.
that was a guest, right? And I
Kind of
always
like a
was like,
mastermind, sort of.
yeah, kind of, right? It was just we have something in common, right? So
Okay.
it's the podcast. So we all have the podcast that's in common to come together and share our journey.
Right.
And before this, I was thinking, oh, let's do a retreat, but what's the point? And, what are we going to do? Sit around and talk about something on the podcast? I don't know. So, but this is the best way. And my goal, I got it's international. So we have a woman from Greece, a woman from the UK,
Oh,
a bunch of us here in the US, a guy that's up in Canada, somebody's in Puerto Rico.
mm,
And so it's amazing how these people are coming together and they see the opportunity that's available to not just them, but to able to reach others and encourage them to become better and keep moving forward.
right. Right. That's amazing. And where can we find that book, your book?
Yeah, it's a great question. So it's not out yet.
Oh, that's right. I
Yeah,
remember
that's
you
right.
saying that to me.
So it's going to be published probably around May, and we're going to do a
May.
virtual book launch May, early June. We'll see how it goes. And
Okay.
everybody's invited to that. So that'd be on Facebook, Zoom, or Facebook, maybe YouTube or whatever we can shoot out to. And then it would be, if you know any of the authors, they can reach out to the authors. They can buy a book from them. They can pre-order, or it'll become available on Amazon after we launch it.
So somewhere around May.
Yep,
Okay,
for
yeah. So
Amazon. Yeah.
everyone look out for that. And that book is entitled Life's Checkmark, the same as your podcast.
Yep. Inspiring journeys beyond life's expected path.
Oh, yeah, that sounds like a very powerful and interesting title as well. It grabs your attention. So, is there anything else that you are working on that you would like to share or a part of that you would like to share while you're here?
Sure. Yeah. Brian, you have a podcast. I have a podcast, and I don't know if we discussed this earlier, but 345,000 post one new episode every 90 days.
Mm.
And that's very small compared to the 4.2 million podcasts that are out there. Most of them
Oh
are
yeah.
dead, right?
Oh,
So what if you did it and you showed up every week?
mm.
How far could you get, right?
Right.
And so that's the numbers game that we have to play, and we have to be consistent and keep showing up. So as a podcaster, I do one per week. I've done a few per week in the past just because I had a large amount, but I can only support and take on so many guests. I can only
Right.
share it to so many people, and people can only find my podcast in so many ways. So I created a Podcasters Hub so other podcasters can come in. We can learn from each other. We can encourage each other to keep growing. And that would ultimately connect with other guests, collaborate with other podcasts, and grow from there. And hopefully, I don't care what your podcast is about. It could be about music or comedy, or, you know what I mean? But you're still reaching out to people,
Right.
inspiring them, encouraging in some way, shape, or form. So,
Right.
Podcasters Hub, it's a school community. There is a membership fee. There's a 7-day trial. I do have a woman coming in as a special guest this Wednesday talking about being a guest on a podcast. She doesn't have a podcast, but she's been on over 100 of them. And so she shows up and shares that with the rest of us come this Wednesday for about an hour.
Wow.
She actually is my 200th episode that we just recorded in New York, which
Mm.
won't be coming out till May sometime as well. But yeah, so I mean, like that to me, that's what it's all about. If I can give back and I share ideas, things I find, and other podcasters come in. One woman is in there, and she just got her first sponsorship, and she just reached over 200 episodes, right? So
Oh, wow.
and it was basically about because she was consistent. Some
That's right.
demographics, but not everything,
Right.
and that's what they want to see. They don't want to see you stop, go, stop, go. So. Um, I think it's fun. I think it's awesome. And there's a lot of room for growth in podcasting. Just know why you're doing it, and that will encourage you to keep moving forward.
Wow. Amazing. So this, where can you find this hub?
Yeah, so you can go ahead, you can go to lifescheckmark.com if you want. There's a link in there to take you to the school community. Or you can just go on school.com and, search for it if you like.
Wow. That's amazing. And it sounds like an amazing tool to not only for just growth and expansion, but collaborating, knowledge. You can find out things, if you already have a podcast or if you're thinking about one. It's
Hmm.
just, yeah, it's just endless possibilities. So that's amazing that you developed that. So,
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's great. Dr. Ronnie's in there too. So
wow,
yeah.
amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, before we conclude this segment, is there any last words you want to leave us with?
I would like just to share that, just to whoever's listening to this, right? And I come from a place of struggle, and I know a lot of people are too. And I just want
Absolutely.
them to know that they are not alone. They truly are not. Other people have been down the path that they are in now or have gone through. And so I just want them to know that they can reach out to anybody, right? And if they're listening to this, they want to reach out to me for whatever reason, great. I can send them whoever I know, with all the guests I've had and all the networking groups I'm in. Maybe there's that one person that could help even further. Uh, get your thoughts out of your head, you know, and you'll find the right people to talk to for sure. So it just and don't give up. I've met a few people that have had suicide ideation. I've ran into people who have had people commit suicide, and I hate for that to be the resolution to everything, and it's not, right? You were put on this earth for a reason, and I don't know what that reason is, but we will find that for you. So just keep staying positive, keep moving forward. I know things are going to push you down in the wrong direction sometimes. Um, but the light's at the end of the tunnel, I mean, and I don't know how long that tunnel is, but if you keep going, you'll get through it.
Wow, thank you very much. That was very encouraging, enlightening, and inspirational. And yes, thank you. I appreciate you again, John, for coming on the podcast and sharing your perspectives, your knowledge, your experiences, and yes, just your energy. Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, yes. And thank you everyone for watching and or listening. Be sure to hit the like button, the subscribe button. Share this, not only help the platform grow, but get this vital information out there to people. Help spread it, share it. And if you think that you or you know anyone that would be a good fit for this podcast, just simply email me at 333empower@gmail.com. Appreciate you. Sending love and appreciation to everyone. See you soon. Enlightened, empowered, evolved.